She's landed a Lego sponsorship. I mean, Lego may as well just taken that money and just lit it on fire. Just lighted a flame. Because Paige Bueckers not drawing anybody to buy Legos except for a very, 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 very small portion of...
There it is. That gut punch reaction says it all about what's really going down in the WNBA right now. One player is packing arenas with 20,000 fans a night, pulling in $50 million endorsement deals, while another is being hyped as the next face of the league despite averaging single digits. The gap between what's being sold to the public and what's actually happening on the court has never been this loud. So let's set the record straight, because numbers don't play favorites, even when headlines do. Paige Bueckers locked in a deal with Lego in January 2025, stacking it on top of CarMax and Fanatics partnerships. The media went wild, calling it unprecedented off-court influence for a WNBA player. But unprecedented compared to what exactly? Because Caitlin Clark, before even touching a pro court, signed an 8-year, $28 million mega deal with Nike. And she's also repping State Farm, Gatorade, Wilson, and Xfinity.
On the WNBA. Really? Paige Bueckers already one of the most hyped and highly anticipated players in the WNBA years before she was actually drafted number 1 overall in the 2025 draft. Bueckers' skills on the court are undeniable. Her potential to continue to grow is vast. My goodness. Okay. But Bueckers has been making off-the-court moves.
That's not just big. That's industry shifting. So when reporters throw around the word unprecedented, it starts to sound like they're not watching the same reality as the rest of us. Let's talk attendance. The Dallas Wings pulled an average of 7,273 fans per game during Bueckers' rookie season. Not bad, but not headline-worthy either. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever were forced to move several games to larger arenas just to fit the Caitlin Clark effect. We're talking full-capacity sellouts, standing room-only crowds, and ticket prices jumping overnight. The American Airlines Center, home of the Mavericks, hosted 0 Wings games. But guess whose games did get upgraded to NBA arenas? You already know. Clark's. Now here's where things get real spicy. The ratings data completely exposes what's actually happening behind that glossy marketing narrative. When the Dallas Wings faced the Indiana Fever on ABC in June 2024, the broadcast pulled 2.1 million viewers. Sounds huge, right? But let's look closer, and that wasn't Bueckers driving those numbers. It was Clark's magnetism. How do we know? Easy. The Wings' average viewership dropped to 1.114 million in games without Clark on the court. That's a jaw-dropping 46% plunge. Yet somehow, the articles tried to spin that number as proof of strong regional interest in Bueckers. Come on, a million viewer drop doesn't lie. People weren't tuning in for Dallas. They were tuning in for Caitlin Clark.
As she prepares to be the next Nike signature athlete. So here we go right here. And then there. Okay. Hey, why that got to be Iowa Hawkeye colors? Oh, did I say that out loud? Why is that Iowa Hawkeye colors? Just wondering. I said right there, Lego may as well take that money and just burned it.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, because this whole marketing game plan isn't random at all. Paige Bueckers fits very specific boxes that make her perfect for certain corporate agendas, even when her on-court numbers don't back it up. She's a UConn product, meaning she's got the full weight of the most powerful pipeline in women's hoops behind her. She's also openly gay, which makes her a golden pick for brands chasing LGBTQ+ representation, and she's in a high-profile interracial relationship with her former teammate Azzi Fudd, giving her that extra modern representation appeal that's become so trendy in the corporate world. Now don't twist it. None of that is wrong, but when companies start prioritizing identity checkmarks over actual market performance, that's not business anymore. That's politics dressed up as marketing. Lego didn't sign Paige because they thought her partnership would send sales through the roof. They signed her because she represents the kind of social values they want to be aligned with. And hey, that's their right. But let's be real, this isn't about basketball dominance or fan magnetism. It's about symbolism and branding power, not ticket sales or TV ratings. And if you want proof, just look at what's happening with the unrivaled league. This brand new 3-on-3 basketball league dropped in January 2025, marketed as a fresh alternative to players heading overseas during the WNBA offseason. On paper, it sounded like a dream. 30 players, better pay, equity stakes, and total creative control. But here's the kicker. Aja Wilson isn't in it. Sabrina Ionescu isn't in it. Sophie Cunningham, nope. Angel Reese, nowhere to be found. And most importantly, Caitlin Clark, the one player who can actually move the needle, also said no. That's the reality nobody wants to admit.
From anywhere? Last I checked, 50 million people. Come on. Stop it. Stop it. In fact, I don't know that I can handle much more of this BS. The marketability that has continued to be a major factor in Bueckers' professional career as well is, of course, her UConn ties up there.
The one athlete who's proven she can fill arenas and spike TV ratings walked away, leaving the league without its biggest star power. Yet somehow, the media spun Paige Bueckers' participation like it was the headline event. 2 days before launch, social media engagement was flat, coverage from major sports outlets was minimal, and the public conversation was non-existent. But imagine if Caitlin Clark had joined. The buzz would have been explosive. It would have dominated every basketball feed, every trending page, every talk show. Without her, though, Unrivaled barely made a ripple. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't about tearing down Paige Bueckers as a player. Her skills are legit, no question about it. She went #1 overall in the 2025 draft for a reason. Her game speaks for itself. Back at UConn, she was putting up 21.2 points, 5.2 assists, and 4.8 rebounds per game in her final season. Smooth handle, sharp vision, and that pure shooting form. She's got the toolkit of a future superstar. Her basketball IQ is sky high, and anyone who's watched her knows she can hoop for real. But here's the catch. Potential doesn't automatically translate to market value. That's the line these marketing campaigns keep trying to blur. And it's where the real problem starts. When brands and media start crowning someone the next face of the league, before they've proven they can actually move ratings or sell tickets, that's not brand building. That's fantasy building. It's like stacking hype on top of hope and calling it strategy. Because once the real performance numbers roll in, that house of cards collapses.
Strong local and regional interests. By the way, I talk about agenda. There's your agenda. Paige Bueckers. Guess what? She checks the LGBTQ elemental P box. LGBTQ. Who cares? You know what? The alphabet mafia box.
Fast. The WNBA has been playing this game for years. They tried to force-feed stars to the public instead of letting real ones rise naturally. Remember how hard they pushed Brittany Griner? They poured money and media into making her the face of the league, but the mainstream didn't bite. Same with Elena Del Don. Talented? Absolutely. But ask the average casual fan to recognize her on the street, and most couldn't. The league kept spending millions trying to manufacture stardom, but it never stuck. Then along came Caitlin Clark, and everything flipped. Her rise wasn't scripted, wasn't manufactured, it was earned. She didn't need marketing favors. She commanded attention through pure dominance and charisma. At Iowa, she averaged 27.4 points per game, shattered the NCAA Division Norm scoring record with 3,951 career points, and carried her team to 2 straight national title games that broke viewership records. The 2024 championship game between Iowa and South Carolina, a jaw-dropping 18.7 million viewers, the most watched basketball game, men's or women's, in half a decade. That's not PR magic, that's authentic star power. Caitlin didn't need identity politics, special branding angles, or media handouts. She earned her spotlight the old-fashioned way, by putting on a show every single night and making fans feel like they were witnessing history in real time. Caitlin Clark didn't need some corporate machine pushing her into the spotlight. She earned every ounce of it. All she had to do was be undeniably elite at basketball and stay authentic on and off the court. No fake branding, no forced messaging, just pure talent and charisma that made people stop scrolling and start watching. And guess what? The market responded instantly. That's real demand, not a PR illusion. Now compare that to what's happening with Paige Bueckers. The contrast couldn't be louder, and that tension is making a lot of executives and media voices very uncomfortable, because what we're seeing right now is a head-on collision between 2 completely different philosophies for building a sports star. Now, one built on genuine fan energy, the other built on corporate engineering, and let's break it down. The first approach is market-driven.
She's interracial on top of it. Oh, the wokes just literally exploded. Again, folks, the agenda is thick in this league. And I don't know how the hell Caitlin Clark is going to be able to dodge that agenda. Because, I mean, the agenda oozes out in the play.
The way sports have always worked, you find the player who draws real excitement, sells out arenas, and breaks viewership records, and you build everything around them. It's how legends are made. The NBA didn't sit in meetings debating whether Michael Jordan fit their corporate image before deciding to make him the face of the league. Jordan forced their hand by being so electric, so dominant, that the world couldn't look away. The market made him a superstar, not a committee. Then there's the agenda-driven model, where corporations handpick the player who fits the right social narrative or brand image, then pour millions into making that player appear like a superstar, no matter what the scoreboard says. That's what we're seeing with Lego's deal with Paige Bueckers. It's what certain media outlets are doing when they hype her sponsorships as unprecedented, conveniently forgetting that Caitlin Clark's endorsement list is miles longer and worth way more. The issue with this agenda-first strategy? It's built on short-term buzz, not long-term fan loyalty. You can buy headlines, flood social media with hashtags, and spin press releases all day, but you can't fake real excitement. You can't make people care about a player they don't naturally connect with. Fans can smell when something's being forced, and when that happens, interest drops fast. Eventually, the truth always catches up. The market always balances itself out. When it does, all that carefully staged hype crumbles. The ads stop working, the brands lose money, and the fans feel tricked into supporting something they never asked for. Meanwhile, the players who were pushed too early end up crushed under expectations they never had the chance to earn. And that's when the illusion falls apart, fast and loud, and that's exactly where we are right now with Paige Bueckers, a gifted athlete being quietly set up to fail.
Unprecedented off-court impact, and I was like, the fudge is that? Nah. They're trying to blow that smoke up your ass. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Look, she's got unrivaled to her whole self. No Asia, no Sabrina, no Sophie.
Not because she isn't talented, but because too many people around her care more about what she symbolizes than whether she can truly deliver results in the marketplace. It's a dangerous setup, the kind that builds unrealistic expectations and leaves the athlete holding the bag when the numbers don't match the hype. The Lego deal? It's not going to move product like they think it will. The unrivaled league, it'll keep fighting to find viewers who simply aren't there. And 2 years from now, the same machine will shift its focus to another agenda-friendly prospect, repeating the same playbook. Flashy branding, hollow engagement, and the same disappointing outcome. It's a cycle that keeps spinning because nobody wants to admit the truth. The market decides who's a star, not the marketers. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here writing her own script. 20,000 fans packing arenas every night, TV ratings hitting record highs, and endorsement deals that blow everyone else's out of the water. And none of it's because of favoritism or bias. It's because when true market demand meets undeniable star power, the numbers speak for themselves. The audience doesn't need to be told to care. They already do. So here's the crossroad the WNBA faces. They can either start embracing market-driven stardom, letting performance and charisma lead the way, or keep chasing manufactured narratives that the fans aren't buying. But they can't have it both ways. The longer the league pretends that Paige Bueckers generates the same buzz, the same pull, or the same cultural gravity as Caitlin Clark, the more credibility they lose with the very audience they're begging to grow. So think about it. If you're running a company with a limited marketing budget and you need to pick a WNBA player to back, who are you choosing? The one who brings in 7,273 fans a game and checks the representation boxes? Or the one filling NBA arenas with 20,000 screaming fans and locking down $50 million in endorsement? Because if you're choosing the first option, you're not running a business, that you're running a social experiment with someone else's money. And when the investors start asking where the returns went, those same executives will suddenly remember what the data has been screaming all along. Hype doesn't equal demand. And when that day finally hits, the excuses will start flying. The same outlets that hyped Paige Bueckers as the face of the future will quietly backtrack.
Nobody's talking about it. They start playing in 2 days. Nobody cares. Well, wait a minute now. How many people do you think would have that circled if Caitlin Clark was playing in that league Monday? I'm just saying. Tell me what you think. That's why we're here.
blaming market conditions, fan fatigue, or lack of exposure. Hey, anything but the obvious truth. They'll say things like, the league just wasn't ready to support her star power, when in reality, it was never about readiness. It was about misreading what the fans actually wanted. You can't trick people into passion, and that's exactly what this entire marketing strategy tried to do. Fans don't fall in love with spreadsheets and slogans. They connect with stories, energy, and authenticity. When Caitlin Clark steps on the court, the crowd feels it. There's electricity in the air, the kind of energy that can't be bought or manufactured. You see it in every highlight clip, every sold-out game, every kid holding a homemade sign screaming her name. That's real star power. But what's happening behind the scenes is a quiet panic, because corporations and certain media players have already invested too much money and too much narrative into Paige to just walk away now. They're trapped in their own story. The only problem? The audience isn't buying the script, the numbers don't lie, and the gap between perception and reality keeps widening with every passing month. Look, the WNBA doesn't have to make this complicated. It doesn't need to pick one woman over another. It just needs to stop ignoring what's actually working. Every successful sports league has learned this lesson the hard way. Fans decide who the stars are, not press releases, not brand partnerships, not marketing departments trying to reshape culture. The sooner they accept that, the faster women's basketball can grow for real. Imagine what could happen if the WNBA stopped chasing the illusion of controlled stardom and just leaned into authentic momentum. Let Caitlin Clark be Caitlin Clark. Let Paige Bueckers earn her spotlight naturally, not through PR pushes and forced branding. Because when greatness happens organically, the world responds, and the whole sport rises with it. Right now, though, the league is standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to authenticity, the other to artificial hype. One produces legends who last generations, the other burns bright for a season and fades, and if they choose wrong again, the audience will tune out, not out of hate, but because they've already seen this movie before and they know exactly how it ends. All those glowing headlines calling Paige Bueckers unprecedented won't mean a thing when the numbers settle. The only metric that truly matters, and the only one that counts, is whether she actually moved the needle. And right now, the data's clear. She hasn't. That's not hate, that's not bias, that's just cold, hard reality. And the truth? Reality doesn't care about marketing spin or social agendas. It only cares about results. Fans don't owe loyalty to hype. They respond to authenticity, performance, and energy that feels real. If Paige ever reaches that level, people will show up for her too, because true stardom can't be faked. But until then, the spotlight belongs to those who earned it, not those who were handed it for PR convenience. So what do you think? Is the WNBA learning from this or doubling down on illusion? Can Paige rise to meet the moment, or will the market keep choosing Caitlin Clark every single time? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like, subscribe, and share button. And we'll see you on the next one.